I'm Tanner Hicks, and as always, I'm joined by the best co-host out in Jackson Huey. And welcome back to another episode, man. We had a very, very, very interesting week this past week across all sports, not just football that we talk about, but all sports. The World Series is going on. Basketball just started back. College basketball is about to start in a week or two. It's November now as we're recording this. Trade deadline just happened in the NFL. A lot. James Harden's a Clipper now. A lot has happened this past week, but we will only cover the football side of those things. This is about. I'm going to say this now. Please, please, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys haven't already, so you guys don't miss any episode the rest of the season. We're not going to do what we did last year and just stop right before the bowl games and playoffs start. We're going to keep going throughout the entire football season. We're going to cover playoffs when they start, the national championship, NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, all of that. Pick'ems for every bowl game. We're gonna freaking be here, man. We're on the home stretch of the football season, at least the college football season. A few weeks, we have the last full month of regular season games at college football, as sad as that is to say. So please, please, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you guys never miss a podcast episode. Now, I don't know how I didn't pick 'em last week. Hopefully they were good. It couldn't be any worse than last week.
Week 9. Recap. Tanner went 16-9. I went 18-7.
That's just my record, eh? Like
it is. It definitely is.
I'm a consistent 16-9 every week. I'm the Indiana Pacers of pick'ems. I'm just consistently mid.
Yeah, that brings the overall records to 146-80 to 164-62.
I'm 18 games back. Okay, I think I'm gonna need some miracle runs here.
You are. You definitely are.
Miracle picks.
It's already week 10. That's insane.
Week 10. We're in double-digit weeks.
It's already week 10.
Very sad.
So we're gonna start here on Thursday night, and we're gonna go to the Wake Forest Duke game.
Wake Forest Duke. Duke. Rough game last week against Louisville. Shut out. Had a promising game against Florida State, top 4 team in the nation now. And then they just, Louisville's a good team, but no points. Did Riley play?
Yeah, he played. Do what? Yeah, he played.
Okay,
I don't know.
No, I was just checking the box score of the game. Yeah, Duke took a rough loss. But Wake Forest, I don't know anything about Wake Forest. I'm gonna be honest. They got killed by Florida State. I'm gonna go with Duke just because I think Duke is better.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Duke too.
And they're at home, so I'm gonna go with Duke. I want to pause on the pick'ems real quick. I really, really, really want to talk with you about the first playoff rankings of the year. If you guys didn't know, last night as we record this,
let me pull them up.
First playoff rankings of the season. That's when you know you're on the home stretch of the college football season. As always, they're usually pretty interesting. This one, not so questionable, but I don't know. What really surprised me is how high they put Missouri at 12 and how high they put Ole Miss at 10. Ole Miss has just kind of been there for me, to be honest. When you look at Ole Miss, they've won every game except the Alabama game, right?
Right. No. They have 2 losses, right?
No, they're 7-1.
Oh, okay.
But like, it just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like. I look at Ole Miss like, oh, they're ranked 10. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I guess they're 11 in the AP poll, but I don't know. I think Oklahoma being ranked 9, I don't know how to feel about that. Because they beat Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
This 7-8-9 right here, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, that's like a weird clump to me because Oklahoma beat Texas and Texas beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Alabama is over Oklahoma, 1 spot behind Texas.
I guess because they lost to Kansas. I mean,
I'm not saying I don't mind the 9 spot, right? But the way that they're clumped with Texas and Alabama is kind of weird to me. I would have Penn State over Oklahoma right now, in my personal opinion.
maybe. I could see that.
First 2 out are Washington, Oregon. How do you feel about the top 4? I'm gonna ask you that. How do you feel about the top 4?
I think they got it right.
You like Ohio State at 1?
Right now, yeah, because they have the win over Penn State.
I probably would put Georgia there still. I just don't think Georgia's done anything to relinquish that 1 spot. But like, it's not to say like, to say anything bad about Ohio State. I just don't think Georgia should have moved from 1 after all those weeks being on the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And I would probably put, even with everything going on with Michigan, I would still probably prefer Michigan as a number 1 over Ohio State.
Yeah, I could agree with Michigan at 1. Yeah.
Right, at least right now, like Michigan has Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State left. They play at Penn State in a couple weeks, but they get Ohio State at home this year. I would in my mind, I would have Ohio State at 3 right now, just because not because of anything that they've done. It's just I think Georgia and Michigan have been better,
I could see. Yeah, I can agree.
But I don't completely hate Ohio State at 1. I like Florida State in the top 4 right now. You could probably convince me Washington.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is Ohio State's the only one of those 4 teams or those 3 teams that has a top 10 win.
Yeah, Georgia has a schedule coming up. We all thought that they wouldn't have a schedule this year, but the last 4 games are really, really going to be telling about Georgia's season. These are some of the most important games that Georgia's had in a long time. They play top 10 Ole Miss next week. They play number 12 Missouri this week. They play at Tennessee on the 18th. And then they play at Georgia Tech. And although it is Georgia Tech has pulled off a couple of upsets this year.
And that's a rivalry game.
And it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen in a rivalry game. They've beaten Miami and UNC 2 of the past 3 weeks. Yeah, and it's a rivalry game, so I think that should be at least an interesting game. But surface level, it sounds like it could be an interesting game, but maybe not. But even they play 3.
We can talk it up like it's going to be, but Georgia's probably going to win by 40.
Georgia's probably 59-0, probably the final score. Georgia does play 3 top 20 teams the next 3 weeks. So we'll see. Yeah, Georgia's got a really, really interesting schedule coming up. I just want to see where your head's at with this playoff rankings. Other than that, I really don't mind these rankings here. USC being number 20. I don't mind that at all, but it just feels extremely low. Maybe not. They only beat Cal by a point.
Then they had to come back. They had to come back and win the game.
Yeah, they were down like a lot at halftime.
The defense is atrocious, man. The defense is terrible.
It is. You lost 49 points to Cal. Cal's not completely horrible, but ever since you've entered conference play, besides the Stanford game, your defense has been terrible. 28 to Arizona State, 41 to Colorado, 41 to Arizona, 48 to Notre Dame, 34 to Utah, 49 to Cal. Like, you haven't allowed under 30 points or even 28 points since you've played Stanford.
Yeah, they gave up a lot the first game of the season to
San Jose. They allowed 28 to San Jose State. And they had to break away a little bit from that game too. That USC might finish 7-5. if they can't like, they have Washington at home this week, at Oregon next week, and then they play the rivalry game against UCLA the last game of the year. With how USC has been playing, those could be 3 losses. USC could be 7-5.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
I mean, an 8-4 record is not out of the possibility for USC right now.
A 10-2 record is not out of the possibility for USC right now.
But you have to beat Washington, Oregon, and UCLA straight weeks.
I know, but it's not out of the possibility.
I know, but I know it's not.
It's far-fetched, but it's not out of the possibility.
That is crazy. The Pac-12 is going to be. Okay, I'm going to ask you this. Do you think a Pac-12 team will make the playoff this year?
Washington had to run the table. I don't know.
I think I could see Oregon doing it.
I could see Oregon getting into, yeah. But it would take.
Who does Washington have left? Washington has.
But at the same time, do Ohio State and Michigan both get in again if they're one of them's the other one's only lost? You know what I mean? Like,
it depends on the field. You know what I mean? Like, last year USC had to lose for Ohio State to get in.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if it comes down
and then Alabama had to have 2 losses in the regular season too. See, Washington has USC at USC this week in the Coliseum. They saw at Oregon State, and then they finished the year with the Apple Bowl in Washington State, or the Apple Cup, whatever that is. And obviously USC has Washington, Oregon, and UCLA to end the year. And Oregon has Cal. Well, they have 4 games left. They have Cal, USC, Arizona State, and Oregon State. Now, Oregon lost the Civil War last year, right?
To Oregon State, yeah, I believe so.
I think so.
So, all right, hypothetically, Oregon and Washington playing the Pac-12 championship.
It's what seems like is going to happen.
Oregon wins. Both of them have 1 loss. Do you take 1 loss, Oregon Pac-12 champion, or do you take the loser of Ohio State, Michigan?
Oregon.
I think so too.
It just all depends on the rest of the year.
This is why we got to go. This is why we're going to 12 teams.
Yeah, 4 is just not it.
Yeah. And 12 may be too many, but I like 12. I'm cool with 12.
I mean, I think 6 teams would work a little better.
But I think you're still going to have the same problem. And you're probably still going to have the same problem at 12, but not as much.
12 just gets in a consistent, like, really good group of 5 team, right?
Right.
And there's more chance for upsets, you know. In a playoff setting, there's not really any upsets, really. Like, if Cincinnati won a couple years ago, yeah, that's an upset. But they're the top 4 teams for a reason. There's not really going to be any upsets.
Yeah, but that'd be different when there's 12, though, I think.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more. It's going to be more March Madness style, you know, with 12 teams.
Speaking of March Madness, you see what they were talking about expanding it? Like, no, it does not need to be expanded.
128 teams isn't enough. Or is it 60?
It's 64, but good Lord.
Yeah. I feel like 64 is plenty. If you can't get in with 64 teams, you just shouldn't be in the tournament. But yeah. So Washington and Oregon have already played.
Maybe they should put 64 college football teams in the playoff.
Imagine the whole month of December is just a playoff.
We'll have Alabama versus Toledo.
Round of 64. Alabama, Toledo. Toledo doesn't even want to bother flying out to the game.
It is cool that teams are going to get to host playoff games next year. That is cool.
Like whoever makes off next year is gonna make a ton of money if they host.
Right.
Even a team like a group of 5 team, I don't think a team like that will host, depending on how well they did in the regular season. Like say a Tulane from like an 11-2 Tulane from last year, like so a team like that, right, gets in next year. They're just probably gonna be the bottom seed. A 2-loss group of 5.
Yeah.
They'll get in the New Year's 6, but if you get in the New Year's 6, you're gonna make the playoff next year. But you'll probably be a last seed, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so Washington and Oregon have already played. Ohio State and Michigan played the last game of the year. Georgia, like I said, has 3 ranked games left. Who does Florida State play? They've already played Clemson.
Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, and Florida.
Florida State can easily go just 12-0. I think the only they have Miami and Florida left. Like Miami's a rivalry game. That's going to be a really tough game.
They play the only 2 road games they have left are Pitt and Florida, so they go to the Swamp.
That can easily be a loss. That's a trap game if I've ever seen one. At Florida, rivalry game.
Playoffs on the line.
If that's at night, Florida State.
To be determined.
Yeah, surface level, that doesn't look like a tough game. But if you add more factors, the fact that Florida's just not bad this year, and then they have
the chance to spoil Florida State's season.
They're gonna Florida's gonna have nothing to lose at that point, and Florida State's gonna have everything to lose right there. So if they don't have,
hypothetically, yes.
Yeah, if they don't have a loss to Miami or Pitt at that point.
Or North Alabama.
If they have a loss to North Alabama, bro, they're just going to be out of the top 25 altogether. Let alone the playoff. Okay, how about this? I mean, it would just depend on the field. I was going to say, do you put Florida State in as a 1-loss conference champion? Probably not if it's the last game of the year.
Probably not.
Florida. No. If Florida State's not a Florida.
Let's just think hypothetical. Let's just be hypothetical for a second. All right, go back to the playoff. The SEC champion's obviously getting in, right? I think we can agree on that. So let's say
probably.
Let's say this weekend LSU beats Alabama. Well, it won't matter. It won't matter because LSU has. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. LSU beats Alabama. And then, so does 2-loss LSU, and then they go on and win the SEC championship game. Does 2-loss LSU get in?
They would have last year.
But if all these other teams have 1 loss, like Oregon has is a 1-loss conference champion. Washington has 1 loss. Michigan or Ohio State has 1 loss. Florida State hypothetically has a loss to Florida. Who gets in?
Okay, so we can all agree whoever wins Ohio State, Michigan is going to be the Big Ten champion, right? So that team's getting in. I think what is Georgia's 1 loss? Is it The SEC championship?
Yeah, if that's their one loss, what do you do?
Do they get in? Michigan or Ohio State probably. Like the other of Michigan, Ohio State.
You can't say Georgia has one loss, but they lost to LSU. Georgia gets in, LSU don't. Like
it depends. Like this could be the year we see the first. I mean, I don't know. Okay, it would be so boring though if we had 4 undefeateds, because there's no chaos. You know, they're just gonna put the 4 undefeateds in the playoff. But Ohio State, Michigan are gonna play. One of those two is probably not getting it, depending on the field. One of Washington and Oregon probably makes it. But then you think, like, does the Big 12 champion get in with one loss? It's going to be Texas or Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's heck, even Ole Miss could still well, wait a minute. So if LSU beats Alabama, who gets in? Who even makes SEC championship game?
Do what? Repeat that?
If LSU beats Alabama, who even goes to the championship game on the West side?
LSU has one SEC loss because they have a loss to Florida State.
Let's just say
and Alabama has an SEC loss. Or no, Alabama doesn't have an SEC loss.
No, LSU would be their one.
So then LSU would have the tiebreaker. So LSU would get in.
But if Ole Miss won out, but if Ole Miss won out, they all beat each other.
Alabama. Okay, so if Alabama and Ole Miss went out.
No, if LSU and Ole Miss went out.
Alabama would get in. Or no, LSU would get in. LSU would get in.
How would LSU get in if Ole Miss beat them? But how would Alabama get in if LSU beat Ole Miss? I mean, if LSU
I actually want to figure this out. So if Ole Miss and LSU went out, right?
It has to go off points.
So Alabama would just have the one SEC loss to LSU. Just saying that happens. Just pure chaos. Ole Miss would have the one loss to Alabama.
And LSU would have the one loss to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, okay.
It had to come down to points.
It would just have to be points, wouldn't it?
That'd be crazy.
Or best overall record. No, I don't think they take that into consideration. And I think it's conference record in points for, right?
Probably.
So how about this, right? Let's say.
But you'd have to think that'd be Ole Miss, right? I don't know. Maybe LSU.
Let's say. What's the most chaotic thing here? Let's say Penn State beats Michigan and Ohio State, or Michigan beats Ohio State. So that way Penn State has a loss to Ohio State. Michigan has a loss to Ohio State. Or no.
So, yeah, Michigan has a loss to Penn State. It could be the same scenario, yeah.
Michigan has a loss to Penn State, and Ohio State has a loss to Michigan. So it would have to be points for, right? In that situation.
Situation.
Missouri's an East team, right? What if Missouri beats Georgia this week and wins out?
They go to the SEC championship.
You imagine a Missouri-Alabama SEC championship?
Like a Missouri-LSU, Missouri-Ole Miss SEC championship game?
Missouri-Ole Miss? That would be so fun to watch. Like Missouri and Ole Miss are fighting to get in the playoff. Everybody's watching that game. Okay, so who else does Louisville play?
They got an easy schedule.
Louisville.
Remember, I was talking a couple weeks ago saying they could go undefeated and they lost.
And they lost to freaking Pitt, dude. Imagine ruining your season losing to Pitt.
They got Virginia Tech, Virginia, Miami, and Kentucky. Not an easy schedule, but
I can see them losing the last two.
I could too. Now
That's probably what happened.
But at the time, they were looking good, and I thought they could. After the Notre Dame win, I thought they could go undefeated.
They were looking like it. This is really, really interesting. I feel like a one-loss Big 12 champion gets in, but I don't know. I feel like
what if it's just pure chaos and
that's what I want to see.
Like Louisville wins the ACC. Their Florida State's only loss.
This is what the issue was in 2021. They were like, because Cincinnati was in like. Because Cincinnati, I don't think Cincinnati made the first playoff rankings. When I could check that, 21 in week 10. Yeah, these are the first playoff rankings. Michigan State was in the first playoff rankings. I remember that. Cincinnati was 6th. The whole conversation the entire year was, like, do you take a one-loss Power 5 conference champion over an undefeated Cincinnati? It was a toss-up.
Yeah.
The whole year. Like, do you take a one-loss Oregon, who wasn't necessarily impressive in 2021, over an undefeated Cincinnati? Cincinnati ultimately made the playoff anyway, but that was the entire like. Everybody was like, do you put Wake Forest in the playoff if they go undefeated?
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild.
Playoff rankings this is the best time of the year when we talk about hypotheticals and playoffs. It's going to die down a little bit once we get to the 12-team format next year. Maybe not. But we have more teams to cover.
Like you look at the top 12 right now. What a playoff that'd be.
I know. Is it like would the first 4 teams get a bye?
Yeah, I believe so.
And it's like 5-12, 6-11, 7.
So right 10, now you'd see Missouri versus Washington, Penn State versus Oregon, Ole Miss versus Texas, and Oklahoma, Alabama.
What a playoff that would be. And then you get rid of those 4 teams.
And like Washington, Oregon,
and then it turns into an 8-team.
Yeah, Washington, Oregon, Texas, and Alabama would be the home teams, and that they'd all get to host.
That Alabama-Oklahoma game would be really, really cool. But imagine being Penn State and having to go all the way down to up to Oregon.
Yeah,
like you've never been anywhere. Like I mean, I guess next year those two teams will be Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
Dude, next year is going to be a gold mine of content, dude. Enough ranking talk. Let's get to the actual reality
if the
games.
Playoffs, if the 12-team playoffs started today, there'd be 6 SEC teams in it.
It would be 8 next year.
Well, I'm saying
Oklahoma.
I'm counting them.
Okay, there would be 8 next year. There would be 8 SEC teams.
No,
and
I'm counting Texas and Oklahoma in that 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just saying there, because we can say they're already an SEC team.
Yeah. So let's go back to the pick'ems because we could just talk forever about hypotheticals in the rankings.
Anyway.
Did you pick the Duke Wake Forest game? I think I picked Duke.
I did. We both picked Duke.
All right.
On to Friday, Boston College at Syracuse.
Syracuse has not won an ACC game yet on a 4-game skid against everyone. If you lose by 28 to Virginia Tech, I'm not taking you seriously again for the rest of the year. I'm going with Boston College.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably have to agree.
But Virginia Tech is also 4-4. What? Do I have to take Virginia Tech seriously? No, never. We're going with Syracuse.
What?
Or we're going Boston College. Sorry.
Where did you get Virginia Tech at?
I said Syracuse lost by 28 to Virginia Tech, and I said if you lose by that much to Virginia Tech, I can't take you seriously.
I got you.
Virginia Tech is slowly turning into those teams that I just hate because they're just so bad. But this year they're 4-4, so maybe not. But we're going with Boston College in the newly renovated Carrier Dome.
You love that Carrier Dome. Number 15, Notre Dame at Clemson. Clemson's spiraling.
Oh boy.
Clemson is spiraling fast.
4-4 Clemson. When was the last time Clemson was this mid?
Did you see Dabo's rant?
No, what did he say?
He went on like there was this kid calling about asking why Dabo's getting paid so much and
on his show. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. All time.
You can have the job if you.
he was kind of spitting facts, but all time
Clemson.
All time rant.
Went 11-3 last year, 10-3 in 21, 20 through 15. They all had 1 or 2 losses. 2014 was 10-3, 2013 11-2, 2012 11-2. 2011, 10-4. Last time they had 4 losses was 2011, where they lost 70-33 in the bowl game. 2010 was the last time they went under 500.
70?
Yeah, they let West Virginia put 70 on them.
West Virginia?
In the Orange Bowl in 2011. But the last time that Clemson went under 500 was 2010. Where they went 6-7, 4-4 in conference play, and they lost to South Florida in the Meineke Car Care Bowl.
That is insane.
Kyle Parker was their starting quarterback. That is how long ago Clemson had this terrible.
Okay.
And I can say terrible because Clemson does not look good this year. Far from it.
I'm going to go Notre Dame.
Yeah, let's go with Notre Dame.
I want to pick Clemson at home, but I don't even know if that matters.
I don't think it matters. It matters this year.
It definitely matters, but
I mean, Clemson may be fired up after what Dabo said the other day, but I just can't trust Clemson to win anything right now. The only team I would pick Clemson to beat would be Virginia Tech. Everybody else, no.
Here's the game. Number 1, Ohio State at Rutgers. The mighty Rutgers.
The mighty Scarlet Knights at home in Shai Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. Give me Ohio State.
Yeah, give me Ohio State too. If Rutgers wins this game, talk about chaos.
No. You want to? Does Rutgers? Is it 2 loss for Rutgers get in the playoffs? If they win out.
Number 23.
Put some respect on Rutgers. Rutgers is 6-2.
Number 23, Kansas State at number 7, Texas. This might be a fun game.
This feels like a Texas loss, doesn't it?
It does, but it's at Texas.
Does it?
Texas.
Does it not feel like a Texas loss?
It's
Kansas State's coming back, dude.
It's at
Kansas
Texas,
State's.
so I'm gonna go Texas here.
Kansas State's on a 3-game winning streak, killing teams 41-0 to. You know what? Give me the Wildcats. Give me Kansas State. Give me K-State.
This is why
in
you're 18
Austin. No, this is when I say it feels like a Texas loss. I don't know. I have toenail clippers in my hand, but every time I say that it feels like a Texas loss, it's happened. Last year, that was Texas Tech beating Texas. I'm going with my gut. Give me Kansas State.
Well, let's stay in Texas, and Texas A&M is going to Ole Miss.
We're not staying in Texas.
We're not staying in Texas, but we're, you know what I mean.
Give me Ole Miss, man. Ole Miss has looked really good
too.
this year. They've had some grind out games against Arkansas and Auburn, but those are still SEC guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good wins against Tulane, LSU, really, really, really good win. And then you got Georgia next week in Athens. So I'm gonna go with Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm going Ole Miss too. Staying in the SEC, we actually are. Arkansas at Florida. I had to do it to you.
I'm gonna go Florida at home.
Yeah, I'm going Florida because I cannot trust Arkansas.
Arkansas is just poopy, dude. They're terrible. They're on a 6-game losing streak. They're bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Do they beat FIU in 3 weeks? I don't know. Give me Florida, dude.
Yeah. Arizona State at number 18, Utah. Utah's coming off a bad loss.
Oregon is really good, is what I've learned. This is a game I got wrong. I do remember this. I picked Utah to win the Pac-12. It's not looking like that's going to happen. Utah really can't three-peat without Cam Rising, it seems. Even if Cam Rising did play this game, I don't really think they would win because Utah or Oregon was just really good all around. I'm going to go with Utah, though, because Arizona State is terrible. And that's my take.
Arizona State has been competitive all year.
Kinda.
They lost to Washington 15-7.
No, they have been very competitive, but like
they've been very competitive all year. With that being said, I'm going Utah.
But it's like,
but if this was at Arizona State, I would go Arizona State.
Really? I was gonna say that this year's Arizona State team might be the 2021 Nebraska team where they just lost every one-score game.
It might be.
But they've had a rough schedule, dude. They've had
yeah, they played the Pac-12.
They got shut out by Fresno. That
was early though.
Yeah, it was. But they also have a crazy schedule. The 2-10 Sun Devils.
The fact that they've been competitive is a win.
Yeah, with how crappy that program's been the past couple years, as far as like internally, like things going on. I don't know. The fact that they're 2-6 says a little something, but I'm gonna go with you.
The game of the week. Georgia Tech at Virginia.
Oh boy, Virginia's favored in this game. What? How? They beat UNC a couple weeks ago, and then they lose to Miami by 3, and then Vegas is like, give me Virginia. I don't trust it. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is mid, but they're coming off a win against UNC. Was this last week? No, this was just Saturday. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgia Tech beat UNC.
Okay.
Give me Virginia.
That is perplexing to me. That's your favorite UVA in this game. Somebody must be hurt or something. I'm going to go Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Number 12, Missouri at number 2, Georgia.
I could do all the talking I want. I'm going to pick Georgia. But how crazy would it be, though, if Missouri won this game, dude? They would be first in the East, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they would.
Their only SEC loss coming to LSU, who's a West team. So
it wouldn't matter because they only had, both of them had one loss, and
that's what I'm saying. They would be first in the East if Missouri wins this game. They're first in the East. Missouri's not bad, but like before the season, we both picked them to be pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
I picked them to be near the bottom.
All I'm saying is that 7-point loss Memphis got looks pretty darn good.
Could you imagine if we beat Missouri? And our only loss is a ranked Tulane? Our only 2 losses are ranked teams. We should have 3 losses, but our only 2 losses are against ranked teams.
Bro, speaking of.
No, make the Memphis game the next one, and we'll talk about it.
Well, we're not picking the Memphis game, but.
Let's do it. Let's pick the Memphis game.
All right.
Segue.
I'm going to Missouri. Give me Missouri.
You're going Missouri in Athens?
This is my next TikTok that's going to get me slandered. Give me Missouri and Brady Cook.
And Luther Burden. Luther Burden's a stud. Actual stud.
Georgia doesn't have the offense to keep up. That's a bold take.
If this was in Missouri, I would pick Missouri. But I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think Georgia, the trenches are gonna decide this game, and I think Georgia's trenches, like big boys up front, are just gonna overwhelm Missouri. So I'm gonna go with Georgia.
Missouri almost won this game last year.
Give me the Dogs.
Number 4, Florida State at Pitt.
I'm going to go Florida State. Florida State's been dominant all year.
Yeah, I'm going Florida State too.
Florida State hasn't won a game. They have 2 one-score games. I forgot about that Boston College game. Well, I'm still going to go Florida State. Florida State's been as advertised this year. Really, 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 really good.
This one will be fun. Number 9, Oklahoma at number 22, Oklahoma State.
Bedlam. Is this the last year of Bedlam?
I did skip the Memphis game. I forgot all about the Memphis game because I don't have it on here.
Well, let's type it in while we pick this game, so let's pick it next because I want to freaking talk about Memphis. I'm going to get this off my chest. If this is the last year of Bedlam, I'm so sad, but it's looking like it will be. Oklahoma has no momentum right now after that loss to Kansas, and they're playing in Stillwater. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Momentum matters, and Oklahoma State has momentum. They've been sneaky good. They're on a 4-game win streak against good teams. Cincinnati's not good, but they played West Virginia. They beat Kansas, who beat Oklahoma, and they've beaten Kansas State. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
You kind of stole my pick.
Give me Gundy.
You kind of stole my pick.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me get an upset. You picked Missouri. I get this one.
All right, I'll go Oklahoma then. I ain't mad at it. If I was down 18, I'd copy my picks too. Don't worry.
No, Oklahoma's going to win this game now that you picked them. This is what happens. I don't care how good of a pick it looks at the time for me. It's just the other way around.
Yeah. South Florida at Memphis.
Boys and girls, Brian Silverfield has to go. I know this has been a topic of conversation the past 2 seasons, right? Oh, Silverfield it. Because we're so used to the Fuente and Norvell days. I've had Silverfield's back for the most part during the whole, get rid of him phase, right?
You and me both.
And my thinking was, who else are we going to hire, right? Who has been in the program as long as he has that's going to, do better than him, right? And he's a great recruiter. Gets guys who can make plays, gets good.
Great guy. Great guy. Here's
I
my
know
point.
North Texas isn't terrible, right? But if you're up, however many points we were up.
But North Texas did that same thing against Tulane last week.
I know North Texas isn't bad. Like Chandler Morris and freaking who the receiver is that has however many touchdowns in consecutive games or whatever. Great duo. One of the best duos in the nation as far as receiver quarterback combos go. Pass game was elite. That guy had like 700 yards against us. But you can't let off the gas pedal like that, dude. I could feel it coming the whole game. This felt too good to be true. 260-plus-yard runs for Blake Watson, and he had 100 yards receiving. Like, just felt too good. Felt too good. And then defense does what it does best, and they suck. They suck too bad.
And our defense isn't that bad, is what gets me. Like, why did it start playing bad?
We were statistically good, like one of the best for the first, 4 weeks of the season. Then we start playing good teams, and, the stats get a little worse. But
no, it's still a solid defense, I think. It's the best defense we've ever had.
I'm talking about the stat.
I've ever seen.
The stats got a little worse. I think 2016 was the best defense I think we've had. But what my point is, some of that is, is being gassed. Some of that, offense is on the field for a short amount of time, so the defense has to go back there again, and then all the snaps the defense plays. Some of that is that. But some of that is play calling and coaching.
It's a factor of everything, I think.
The one thing I loved about, I'm going to let you talk in a minute. The one thing I loved about this game is how involved Blake Watson was. Get your playmaker the football, man. That's what I've been saying. Our offense would be splendorous if we just got the guys who make plays of the football, and we scored 45 points. That will happen.
I didn't know we had the longest win streak in the country of 20-plus point games.
I didn't either. But the offense plays well. UAB last week, you get your playmakers the ball. UAB's pretty bad too, but you get your playmakers the ball, good things happen. You score 45 points back-to-back weeks. And then what's changed? You get the guys who are good the football. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but you game plan around the guys that make plays. Watson, 21 carries, at least 20 carries every week. Kobe Drake, 6 catches. Rock Taylor, 4 catches. You target those guys, man. These guys make plays. I don't know why I said Blake Watson had 100 yards receiving. When did he have 100 yards receiving? He did that
last week.
He did that at some point this year.
Maybe last week. Maybe against Bethune-Cookman.
Did he do that against UAB? No, he did that. He did that last week. 5 catches for 100 yards. I'm looking at the UAB game. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm looking at the UAB game. Yeah, against North Texas, he had 100 yards receiving. Blake Watson, he had 17 carries, but he also had 170 yards, 10 yards a carry. Get him the ball. Brandon Thomas had 3 touchdowns. He vultured some carries, but when you're at the 1-yard line 8 times, you're you give your bell cow the back, or bell cow back the football. Watson, 100 yards receiving. Blakehamzy might be the best receiver on the team.
Yeah, I don't know. Rock Taylor, I think.
I mean, yeah, pure receiver probably Rock Taylor, but Demir Blakehamzy just makes plays, man.
He does, yeah, for sure.
Joseph Skate's a big body that you could just throw to at the goal line. We have plenty of playmakers. Sutton Smith can even go out wide sometimes. We have plenty of playmakers. And sometimes we underutilize those guys, and it leads to bad losses. I think Tulane was a bad loss. Regardless of how good Tulane was, I think that was a bad loss.
Yeah, you can't score 21 unanswered and then give up 21 unanswered.
This A win's a win, right? But it almost wasn't.
It almost wasn't. It took Hennigan throwing a please Jesus ball.
That was his only touchdown. But it was a dart. It was a good play.
Hennigan won us. Play.
Hennigan won us this game, but
I did like how we didn't panic in that last drive. I did like that, I will say. My take on it is I watched the whole game. The first half, we played the best half of football we have played all season.
Just chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. The blocking was
on both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball, we played the best half of football we've played all season. And then something flips in the second half.
We're not a second half team. Under Silverfield, historically, we're not a second half team.
Yeah, I would agree. I still think, obviously all our goals are still in front of us.
Yeah, we only have one loss at conference, 2 losses overall. Like,
we still can run the table, and we can go to New Orleans with a chance for a New Year's Six. I don't think that's crazy to say, unless Air Force keeps winning. If Air Force keeps winning, then we're not getting
I think Tulane's getting it over Air Force probably.
Well, I'm saying if Air Force loses a game or two, the winner of Memphis Tulane in that championship game, if that's the case, is going to the New Year's Six.
I think so. We just have to win out.
Yeah, we have to win out.
I think we play SMU, which is going to be a rough game.
SMU at home, Temple on the road, and Charlotte on the road. And South Florida.
The only game I'm worried about.
I think Charlotte's sneaky good though, ain't they?
Charlotte?
Or are they really bad? I can't remember.
I know their coach is funny. They're 2-6.
Okay.
They're not very good. Yeah, 81% chance to win that game. The game I'm worried about is the SMU game. And right now they give SMU a 74% chance to win that game. SMU's good, man.
Yeah, I'm worried about that game, but I like it at home. I do like it at home.
SMU is putting up points. 69 and 55 the past 2 weeks. I mean, we have 45 in both games the past 2 weeks, but I do think if we win out, we're going to be in the championship game. We just have to beat Tulane in the championship game, and I think we can. We're not going to host it, but we can win it. Every time I've talked about Memphis recently, it's just give. It's just because Memphis, sometimes I love watching them when we play teams like UAB and just kill them. But
basketball season is upon us.
I know. I'm waiting all year for college basketball. Yeah, all that to say, picking Memphis at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Memphis. I ain't gonna say nothing else about it because I don't want to jinx anything or nothing.
We're good at that.
Number 11, Penn State on the road at Maryland. What do you think
Maryland's
about Drew
on
Aller?
a 3.
What do you think about Drew Aller?
I think Drew Aller's a good player. He sucked against Ohio State.
He didn't play great last week either.
Where is this game? Drew Aller obviously is a good player. Against Indiana, he was shaky. At times, he wasn't completely horrible.
Oh, I didn't say it was completely horrible.
But the thing about Penn State's defense almost lost it in this game. Like, just chunk pass play after chunk pass play for Indiana. They had like 90 yards, 69 yards. Like, Penn State's defense almost lost in this game, but what Penn State really relies on is the run game with Singleton and Allen. And when their longest runs are 7 and 12 respectively, your offense is probably going to struggle. And Drew Aller's just not used to just throwing the ball. Like with the amount of volume that Drew Aller had, I think this was one of his best games. He threw 31 times, and he threw his first interception. Like, he threw his first interception in week 9. Like, Drew Aller's not terrible. Again, doesn't get the usual volume of a top quarter. I'm not saying he's a top quarterback, but he doesn't get the volume that you would usually associate with. But I think he's good. I think he's he's at worst a fine quarterback.
Yeah.
And he could be very worse. He could be worse. I just think the offense limits him a little bit. Because when you have like a game against Iowa, right? When you have 37 attempts, 25 completions, and you only have 166 yards, again, that some of that attributes to starting field position, right? But some of that is the offense. The offense is very, very dumbed down and dink and dunk if it's not running. Yeah. Drew Aller doesn't throw the ball down the field most of the time.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going Penn State.
There's a reason I picked them to go 12-0 this year. Obviously, that's not happening anymore. But there's a reason I picked them to be so good, because I trusted Drew Aller as a quarterback, and he's proved to be exceptional this year, all things considered. I'm gonna go Penn State. Maryland's not a slouch. Maryland has lost 3 straight games. But they're not a slouch team either. There's a reason they started 5-0. Yeah. Because they played Towson, Charlotte, and Virginia. Maryland Cupcake. No, Maryland's going to lose 4 straight. They might lose out.
I'm going to go Penn State.
Is Maryland last year's Kansas?
Maybe.
Do you know Kevin Sumlin is on the staff of Maryland?
I did not.
That's crazy. I'm going with Penn State.
Yeah. Virginia Tech at number 13, Louisville.
I'm going to go Louisville.
Yeah, I'm going to go Louisville. I thought Virginia Tech was your bandwagon team.
Oh, I just love Virginia Tech, don't I? I'm actually going to love Virginia Tech. I've been saying that they're terrible, but they're on a win streak. They've won 3 of their last 4 after starting 1-3. Go Virginia Tech bowl game this year?
I don't know. Be tough.
It looks like it. Who's their coach? Brett Pry. Who is that? That's a familiar name, right?
Who is it?
Brent Pry.
That is a familiar name. I don't know why I'm yawning so much.
He was the defensive coordinator for Penn State for like 5 years. I don't know why that's so interesting to me. I don't know. I'm going to go Louisville, though. Louisville's really good.
Yeah, I'm going Louisville, too. Your real favorite team, though. Iowa at Northwestern.
Iowa's letting me down, dude. They're 6-2. They needed this bye really bad. Northwestern is Northwestern on a win streak?
I believe so.
No.
They're not. I thought they were. Who they lose to?
But they beat Maryland last week.
Then they're on a 1-game win streak.
Technically a win streak. I meant multiple games.
I thought they were. It felt like they were anyway.
Northwestern hasn't been as terrible as we thought they would be because we thought they were just going to be outright abysmal.
We picked them in 1 game. We picked them in 1 game.
That 1 game, and that was against what? UTSA? Howard? Like, we thought they were just going to be completely horrible, and they're 4-4 miraculously. This is a dub year. If they lose out, this is a dub year. 4-8 after everything that they went through in the offseason.
Yeah, for sure.
They beat Maryland, right, who's been a good team all year. They lose to Nebraska, who's been a decent team all year, only by 8. They beat Howard by 3. Now that's disgusting. They lose to Penn State by 41-13, but they were like tied at halftime or something. They lose an OT to Minnesota, who's a decent team, or they beat Minnesota in OT, who's a decent team. Like, horrible. And
yeah,
I'm not picking them to win this game. I'm going to pick Iowa. Regrettably, this is in Wrigley. Is that where Northwestern play? Does Northwestern plays in Wrigley? Are we serious right now?
Maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Why is this at Wrigley? That's a little confusing. Anyway, Iowa wins in Wrigley. Iowa wins in Wrigley. How about that?
Yeah, I'm going to go Iowa, too. Auburn coming to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. I don't know why I said coming to Nashville like I'm in Nashville, but you know what I mean, right?
Coming next door. No, they're going to Nashville. We're going to go with Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going Auburn, too. Number 21, Kansas. Fresh off a win against Oklahoma. Going to Iowa State.
Now, this is a trap game for sure. Kansas is on a high after beating OU last week. Now they go on the road to play a decent Iowa State team. Iowa State's not bad. 4-1 in the Big 12. 5-3 overall. On a 3-game win streak is Iowa State, the Cyclones. I want to pick Iowa State so bad because this just feels like a perfect storm. Get it, Cyclone?
Yeah.
Of just a Kansas loss right here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Iowa State at home. Jason Campbell. Who is this coach?
His last name is Campbell. I'm blanking too.
Matt Campbell.
Yeah, that's it.
Matt Campbell saves his job.
I'm going Kansas. BYU at West Virginia.
This is a coin flip.
West Virginia.
But West Virginia's favored by 10 at home. I'm going to trust that, and I'm going to go West Virginia.
Yeah.
I don't know what my record is against the spread.
I don't know either.
But it has to be very high. I'm going to go with West Virginia.
Number 5, Washington. At the Coliseum playing number 20, USC.
I would not be surprised if USC won. I'm going to say that right now. I would not be surprised if USC won. But I'm going to go with Washington. Now, Washington, if my memory has served me correct, hasn't really played anyone good on the road yet, besides Arizona. This is their first like real road test this year, and I'm interested to see how that they play.
I'm gonna go
How they
Washington
play.
too. I'm gonna go Washington too. I think that USC's defense loses this game. That's a bold prediction. I know.
Shocker.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington.
This has a chance to be a shootout because Washington's defense is susceptible to a shootout against a good team, and USC could put points up when they want to.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go with Washington though. I would not be surprised if USC won, and I can't really pick USC to cover because Washington's only favored by 3.
Washington by 1.
If I pick USC to cover, I might as well just pick them to win. So I'm just gonna go Washington. The over/under is 76. That's crazy high. Holy crap! I didn't even peep that. The over/under 76. Oh my gosh.
Good Lord.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wow.
That is absolutely insane. All right.
Anyway, Kentucky at Mississippi State.
I'm gonna go with Kentucky at home. Right?
No, it's at Mississippi State. I'm still going Kentucky.
I will too. No, I'm gonna go Mississippi State at home. Cowbell. Give me Mississippi State. Sorry, Elijah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a break from the pickups
lost.
here. I'm gonna take a break from the pickups here because I wanted to look at the highest over/unders in NCAA history, and it looks like let me see. Said Baylor. It was okay. From first glance, Google says it's Texas Tech at Baylor on October 3rd, 2015. The over/under was 89. Not far off from 76.
13 points.
But I want to look at what this site says. What's the highest over/under of all time? Last season, when Baylor faces Oklahoma State on Saturday in their Big 12 finales, bettors will see the highest over/under that anyone can remember. The total was sitting at 87. When was this?
Who was this?
Was this last year?
Who was this between?
Baylor and Oklahoma State. When was this made? It seems like this was a while ago. But those Baylor teams that put up like 550 yards a game were crazy. This is only showing me results from like 2015 and 2012 and stuff. Who was the biggest spread in college football history?
That's not what you're looking for.
Not the spread. Over/under. Highest over/under in college football history of all time. It's a little redundant. I think it's Texas Tech and Baylor in 2015. It says it grew as high as 90.5.
Hammer the under.
Vegas said 90.5, bro. Those Baylor teams were crazy. I don't blame them. But 90? 76 is the highest I've seen since like looking at this stuff. Wow. Little tangent there, but 76.5 is real crazy, especially for a USC game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
90 is also crazy.
90 is insane.
But yeah, I'm going Mississippi State at home at night. I like Mississippi State.
I'll go Kentucky. The Clemson Killers. Miami at NC State. Both of them Clemson Killers is what I was getting at.
I'm going to go with Miami, as much as I hate it. I don't know if NC State is good. They're 5-3, but I don't know if they're good. Clemson is, they're coming off a win against Clemson, but that's not saying much. They've only lost to Louisville by 3. Is Brennan Armstrong doing any good? No. No. We're gonna go with Miami.
Give me Miami losing in classic Miami style. Give me NC State. This is such a Miami loss. Like, this makes so much sense.
I know. They're gonna lose by they're either gonna get killed 45-0 or they're gonna lose on a Hail Mary.
Or maybe they just won't nail it.
Or that. They're good at that. They got that in their bag too. Don't forget.
Number 16, Oregon State on the road at Colorado. This game wouldn't be picked if Colorado wasn't just able to win a game any week.
I know Colorado can make some magic happen when they want to.
Like, they could win any week if they actually put it all together and played decent. But
they're on a 2-game losing streak. The fact that they're at 4 wins though is still pretty impressive. But they started 3-0. You're 4-4. Once they hit conference play,
and it's going to keep happening this week. Give me Oregon State.
Here's my reasoning. They got all their jewelry and stuff stolen at the Rose Bowl. No material distractions anymore. The boys put it all together on the football field. We're going to go with Colorado at home. Colorado is a really good atmosphere.
Don't worry.
Especially
Deion already replaced all those chains.
A night game in Colorado. Colorado is a really good atmosphere. So I'm going to go with Colorado. I don't like the pick, but I think Colorado gets their footing back somehow.
Here's your game. Number 19, UCLA at Arizona.
Give me Arizona. I told you I was going to get my Arizona pick in at some point this year. I'm going to go with Arizona at home.
And I'll go UCLA then. All right, the real game of the week. Number 14, LSU. Going to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. This has huge SEC championship implications, possibly. We don't know. We don't know who will go if LSU wins this game, but LSU can create some chaos for sure.
LSU's season was looking done after they lost to who did they lose to?
Do you think Jaden Daniels should be in the Heisman conversation?
Yes. Have you seen his stats, bro?
Oh yeah, I have for sure. That's what I'm saying.
I think he absolutely should.
I do too. I told you. Did I not tell you before the season?
You did. Look at, bro. He's like second or something in passing yards.
I think he's first in all yards, right? All-purpose yards.
No, he's fourth in passing yards.
He was second last week. So he must have got passed.
It's Penix, Caleb Shadur. It's Caleb.
They had a bye week and he got passed.
he got a bye week and now he's all the way down at 4. It's Penix, Caleb Shadur, and Jaden at 4.
He was second before the bye week.
Like, where is he? Like, how far up is he in SEC? I mean, he's only got 100 more yards than Carson Beck, which I would not have guessed that. Jane Daniels has been really, 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 really good. 25 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's gonna pass his yard total from last year. Like,
How many yards does he have?
he had 2,900 last year.
What's he got now?
2,500, almost 26. He's already completely gone over his touchdown output from last year.
He's already passed Burrow as an all-time passer at LSU, right?
All time?
Not the all-time passer, but on the.
I don't think so.
Because Burrow only played. No, he played 2 years. Never mind.
Burrow played 2 years. This is Daniels' second year at LSU.
Yeah. I was thinking Burrow only played 1 year for some reason.
Daniels has 2,500 passing, 500 rushing. He's got 3,009. Hold on. He's got 3,094 total yards this year. Or no, 3,099. He has a receiving touchdown. 5 receiving yards. And he's got 5 plus 25 plus 1. That's 31. 31 total touchdowns and 3,099 total yards. 8 games into the year. Anybody?
Give me all the chaos. Give me LSU.
Going LSU. I was about to say, anybody can have these numbers and they would be in the Heisman conversation. Those numbers are ridiculous.
Jaden Daniels goes out this week. Jaden Daniels puts his stamp on the Heisman conversation and wins in Tuscaloosa.
My worry for Alabama is can they keep up offensively with LSU?
Yeah, I know.
LSU's offense has been nuclear this year.
I'd go as far as say top 5 in the country.
You could argue the best. LSU's offense has been amazing.
And
they're averaging 47 points a game. 552 yards per game. Do you know how crazy that is? That's one of the best offenses of all. This is one of the best offenses of all time.
And don't say they played Army. They played this. This is 8 games in. They played some SEC schools.
I'm about to compare this offense to
Burrows,
who all of the great college football offenses ever.
I think the 19 LSU was the best we've ever seen, right?
Oh yeah. But I'm gonna look at this. This is Fox's top 10 offenses ever made in January. The 2010 Oregon Ducks with Chip Kelly, right? They averaged 530 yards a game, 47 points a game. That is right on par with what LSU's doing this year. The 2005 Longhorns with Vince Young and Jamal Charles, 512 yards a game, 33 points a game. Now, the Baylor Bears, right here, as far as offensive output, or no. Sorry, the Texas averages 45 points a game with 512 yards a game. The 2013 Baylor, as far as offensive output goes, is probably the best offense ever. This is the Bryce Petty, Corey Coleman team. They had 52 points a game and 618 yards per game. 618 yards was an average game for that team. Like I said, let's compare it to the 19 LSU. 19 LSU averaged 48 points a game and 568 yards per game. This LSU team this year is not far off. They average 552 yards per game and 47 points a game. This LSU team is one of the best offenses of all time as far as output goes. Sneakily. So I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with LSU because I just don't think Alabama can keep up offensively.
That's it for this week's pick'ems.
College football is gonna be
Let's see if you can make it. Let's see if you can make up some ground this week.
College football is going to be really, really interesting this week. We both picked LSU, which for a game like that, like this, is like how big that game is unusual for us to pick the same teams. But I just think LSU is just too much offense. Moving on to the NFL. Exciting week for us Titans fans. We're going to jump right into these pick'ems on Thursday night.
You want to recap the trade deadline?
Oh, yeah, we can. It wasn't as interesting.
Yeah, I was expecting more, honestly.
As like, compared to last year, it's not going to be because McCaffrey was dealt. But it was an interesting deadline because we saw the two best pass rushers from the Commanders got dealt, and Chase Young going to the 49ers, which was highway robbery in my opinion. Chase Young has been really good this year. And then Montez Sweat going to the Bears for a second-round pick. So I think that's a good trade for the Commanders, but for the Chase Young one, it wasn't very good. Josh Dobbs goes to the Vikings after the injury to Kirk Cousins, which is okay, I guess. Sure. And they're still going to start Jaron Hall anyway. I guess they just need another QB on roster. Big Cat Leonard Williams goes to the Seattle Seahawks for a second-round pick. I like that trade for the Giants just to get his contract off the book, and they get a 2 this year. Not a bad trade. I mean, these were all before the deadline. Byard going to the Eagles. Rasul Douglas goes to the Bills. Bills get some back-end help when they needed it desperately
Bills
after Travis.
Bills also signed Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, they did do that. With Tre'Davious White being out for the year, Kyer Elam has been, in and out of the lineup due to injury. Getting another guy at the back end was really, really important for the Bills. Donovan Peoples-Jones goes from Cleveland to Detroit. More weapons for Goff in Detroit. I don't hate it. Ezra Cleveland going to the Jaguars from the Vikings. Interesting trade for the Vikings. I thought Ezra Cleveland would be just somebody they would keep, young guard on the offensive line. After Grady Jarrett is injured for the year, the Falcons get defensive lineman depth from Philly, getting Kentavious Street, in a 6th round or a 7th round pick. And this happened like a couple weeks ago or last week. McCole Hardman goes back to the Chiefs. Van Jefferson goes to the Falcons. Claypool to the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's all old.
Yeah.
And then Mark Davis got out his.
Oh, Mark Davis cleaned
house. He got out his broom and dustpan last night.
Absolutely cleaned house. No more Josh McDaniels, which we saw happening at some point.
Fired the GM, benched Jimmy G, and fired the offensive coordinator.
Just got rid of everybody. Important.
Mid-season is kind of crazy too.
Like they did this in 2021 with Gruden.
They had reason then.
Yeah, but like they didn't. Like Gruden resigned, right? So he basically quit. But like they got rid of everyone. Like the OC, the GM. Imagine replacing your GM mid-season. They're gonna wait to the offs. They're gonna wait to the offseason.
They benched the quarterback.
No more Garoppolo. Like.
Yeah, the Raiders are probably tanking.
Adams, I think they missed an opportunity. If they were just going to do this, why didn't they do this last week and then traded Adams this week? If you're just going to throw everything out,
Yeah, I think the race for the bottom might be just as interesting as the race for the top.
Yeah, the race for the top has been pretty unclear. Like, you look at the best record in the NFL, right? You're like, oh, it's obviously the Eagles, right? But the Eagles haven't looked incredibly impressive this year, Like, obviously, they're 7-1. They're going to look impressive, but they haven't just, been outright dominant like they were 8 games through last year.
The race for the top. I mean, the race for the bottom might be just as interesting as the race for the top.
Yeah, a lot of teams at the bottom: Bears, Panthers, Patriots, Cardinals.
Well, the Panthers don't have their pick, but
Raiders now. Yeah. Let's talk about this week's games. We got the Titans Thursday night against Pittsburgh. Will Levis versus Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett was cleared to play yesterday.
And Cam Hayward is also back.
Cam Hayward's back for the Steelers. Big get back for them. And Will Levis is going to start this week with Ryan Tannehill being out.
Let's talk about Will Levis.
Will Levis was sensational last week. You know what Will Levis did last week that Ryan Tannehill hasn't done in forever? Was throw the ball farther than 20 yards. And he was throwing absolute moon balls the entire game. His 3 of his 4 touchdowns were at least 40 yards.
Levis looked amazing.
And they were the best play that I saw from him weren't like the long touchdowns to DeAndre Hopkins. It was the long touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Akine where he evades pressure, still throws in the face of pressure and throws an absolute dime to Westbrook-Akine in the end zone. Like the best debut that we could have asked for Will Levis. And God, I'm so excited. This game right here, I haven't been excited for a game like this from the Titans in
me too.
In years. Even in 2021 when we were the 1 seed, like our team was injured the entire year. You know, I wasn't excited for a game until the playoffs, you know. So I'm going with Tennessee on the road. I cannot pick against Tennessee.
I'm going with the Titans too. I'm excited to see how Levis plays on a short week against that defense.
Going from seeing
in that environment.
Going from seeing Dobbs and Tannehill the past, this season and last season to seeing what Will Levis did was such a breath of fresh air, man. It really was.
But I'm also not overreacting because now teams have a full game of film on him. So
yeah, and it's the Steelers. Like rookie QBs don't really have a good track record against a Mike Tomlin led Steelers team. I'm gonna go with Tennessee though. I'm really excited for this game. Another game I'm really excited for is the game in Germany, Frankfurt. Dolphins, Chiefs. Tyreek Hill plays the Chiefs for the first time since being traded from them. Both teams have looked good this year, with the exception of last week for Kansas City. Kansas City looked real bad. But they also couldn't catch anything. It's hard to win games when your guys can't catch a single pass. And, Mahomes made some mistakes through 2 picks, but when your guys can't catch the football, it's like Mahomes has to just, make some magic happen. And that's what he tried to do and ultimately failed, and they lost the game. I'm going to go with Miami.
I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna go Chiefs.
The over-under for this game is 50.5. And for an NFL game, it's kind of crazy, but it is warranted for a game like this. I'm going to go with Miami in Frankfurt.
I'm going to go Chiefs.
Vikings. Vikings without Kirk Cousins for the rest of the season. I hate to see that. Kirk Cousins was balling this year. Starting Jaron Hall, his first NFL start this year. Playing the Falcons, who also have a change of quarterback. They're benching Desmond Ridder this week for Taylor Heineke. I can't say I blame them. Desmond Ridder's been pretty bad. I'm gonna absolute mid off. Is a nice way to put it. We're gonna go with Atlanta though at home.
Yeah, I'll go Atlanta too.
Atlanta's just looked. I don't know. I think Jaron Hall is going to I think Jaron Hall will struggle against any NFL defense, but the Falcons defense is pretty good, and I think Jaron Hall will really struggle to get to find his footing against the Falcons defense. So I'm going to go with the Falcons. Cardinals, Browns. It's looking like Deshaun Watson finally is going to come back, but I don't think that will really matter anyway because Deshaun Watson sucks. I think the Browns.
I said Kyler Murray might play this game.
Maybe. I heard he was. They talked about him being close last week. The Browns, if they had a decent quarterback, they would be 6-1 right now.
If Kyler Murray plays this game, I'm going Cardinals, I think.
I'm gonna go Cardinals regardless. I don't trust the Browns right now. The Browns have been really decent outside of the quarterback position.
I'll just go Browns.
The Browns have been really decent outside of the quarterback position. If they had an okay, consistently decent quarterback, they would be 6-1 right now. If they still had coach Jacoby Brissett, they would be 6-1 right now.
So they're good outside the quarterback position. The only position they're paying $250 million.
Yeah, like that's a Browns moment. We're gonna go with the Cardinals. I don't know. I just don't trust Cleveland right now.
It's at Cleveland Brown Stadium though.
Wow, who plays there? Rams Packers.
Another
Packers have been really bad. 4-game skid for the Packers.
I'm gonna go Packers at home.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. Packers have gone 4 straight. Good gravy. Patriots Commanders. Talk about a mid-off. Commanders just sold 2 of their best players. Sam Howell sacked 95 times this year, give or take, and the Patriots just suck.
I'm gonna go Patriots.
I'm gonna go with Commanders, I guess. Saints Bears. Saints in the Superdome against a bad team.
No Justin Fields again this week?
Probably not.
The Bears are tank commanders, so I'm gonna go Saints.
I'm gonna go with the Saints too. The Saints are also looking like tank commanders recently. Seahawks Ravens, the battle of the birds. This is gonna be a really, really good game in Baltimore. Ravens looking like a top 3 team in the NFL right now. With they just coming off killing.
Hey, my Seahawks are 5-2.
Seahawks looking good too. Gino, I'm gonna leave it there. What I don't get about the Ravens though is that like they killed the Lions, right? Who are, a top 5 team in the NFL this year, and then they struggle bust a win against the Cardinals.
I'm gonna go Seahawks.
I'm gonna go with the Ravens at home. Buccaneers Texans. The Texans have been a sneaky decent team this year. They did lose to the Panthers, gave them their first win. Ultimately, Bryce Young's first win in the NFL. Came in the same week as Will Levis, and Will Levis is 1-0. What does that tell you? Anyway, Texans have been surprising this year. I thought they would have 3 wins, like total. Yeah, I think I like the Texans against the Bucs this week. The Bucs are on a 3-game losing streak after starting 3-1, losing to the Falcons, Bills, Lions. They play good teams, but I'm gonna go with the Texans at home.
I'll go Texans too.
Panthers Colts. In the beginning of the season, we thought this was going to be Bryce Young against Anthony Richardson, but now it's Bryce Young against Gardner Minshew. I'm going to go with the Panthers, though. Panthers at home. Colts are a decent team, but the Panthers have some momentum after a win last week. The Colts are on a skid. I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Colts.
I hope Josh Downs still plays well, though, because I just picked him up in fantasy. Raiders, dumpster fire organization, against another dumpster fire organization in the Giants. This week's toilet bowl.
Mid off.
I'm gonna. No, this is how. Like
so
in 2020.
Do you think Devontae Adams called or talked to Mark Davis and said it's me or them?
I don't know if he gave him an ultimatum, but I'm sure he said like, "Hey, this isn't it." You know.
But you know what I'm saying? He pretty much said it's me or them.
Probably.
You either trade me or fire them.
Yeah. Raiders are. The fact that they're favored in this game. That's how bad the Giants have been. A team can fire their coach, GM, bench a veteran quarterback for a 6th-round rookie, and fire their offensive coordinator, and you still not expected to win.
Give me the Giants.
Is Daniel Jones coming back? I think he is, right?
Yeah, I think so. Give me the Giants.
The Giants have so many injuries, dude. They Barkley's questionable again. He was limited in practice today. Darren Waller was limited. We obviously know about that. Tyrod Taylor in the hospital. I think Daniel Jones is back. So I'm going to go with the Giants. I can't pick the Raiders after what they did last night. Game of the week this week, Cowboys-Eagles. Always an interesting game. Eagles are only favored by 3 in the link against the Cowboys. Cowboys have been pretty shaky after their dominant start the first 2 games. First 3 out of 4 games.
Kevin Byard's first game as an Eagle, right? Or did
he played last week.
Did he?
Yeah. Another dominant defensive performance from the Cowboys last week with, I think they had only 1 pick six. They could have had multiple. I know Deron Bland has 3, which is pretty crazy. I'm going to go with the Eagles, though. The Eagles won through the air, which was impressive to me. Usually they're a ground and pound team, but Jalen Hurts 4 touchdowns.
The fake tush push.
The fake tush push. The Eagles won through the air last week. Jalen Hurts had 4 touchdowns, and I was impressed by that. Seeing the Eagles can win in multiple ways, really shows this is probably best team in the NFL right now.
I'm going to go Eagles.
So I'm going to go with Eagles right now on the link. This also could be the game in the week. Bengals are back, baby. The Bengals are back. After a dominant win against the 49ers last week, they're going to come back home to Cincinnati on Sunday night to play the Bills. And I saw a tweet this week and it said Damar Hamlin has the chance to do the funniest thing ever. The Damar Hamlin Bowl. Bengals Bills. I'm gonna go with the Bengals, man. The Bengals are hot.
I'm gonna go with the game to get postponed.
You're going with the game to get postponed. Game gets canceled. No outcome.
Get that dead body off the field. There's playoff implications on the line. Pat McAfee is a national treasure. But I'm gonna go Bengals. I think the Bengals have gotten hot, and I think the Bengals are back.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are back for sure. We're gonna go with Cincinnati. Monday night, Chargers just stay on primetime, I guess.
And the Jets.
The Jets.
Yeah, so the Jets said they're expecting Aaron Rodgers back this year.
They've been saying that for a couple weeks. If Aaron Rodgers comes back in the same season from an Achilles injury, test him for something. Obviously he's been taking stuff the past 2 years just to but if he comes back,
do you turn into Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays?
Sometimes. Those are the best part. If Rodgers if the Jets can just be 9-6 by the time he comes back or something, if he comes back by then,
or he can just make the wild card.
The Jets can have the weirdest season of all time. Anyway,
if Zach Wilson wheels them to the playoffs and then Aaron Rodgers just comes back.
How deflating would that be? Wilson plays good enough to bring the Jets into the postseason, and then Salah's yeah, we're going with Rodgers in the playoffs. You obviously can't blame him, but it's how deflating would that be, man? You'd lose your starting spot after willing this team to the playoffs.
Anyway, I'm gonna go Chargers in this spot.
I'll go with the Jets. They won the worst game ever. It was also the most entertaining game ever. At the same time, I'm gonna go Jets at home on Monday night. That is the NFL pick'ems, not as juicy and meaty as the college pick'ems, but they usually aren't. And that will conclude the episode for this week. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys listening. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, we're going to be cranking out really, really, really juicy, meaty episodes the rest of the season. That's just the time of the year that we're in. Everything matters up to this point for both sports, or for both college and NFL. So subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. You guys don't want to miss an episode here on out for the rest of the year. Follow us on Apple, follow us on Spotify. We are wherever you guys get your podcast. And we will be back next week. See you guys then.